Talking now to Ari Vatanen, here we are in 2011, 30 years ago at this event, not precisely this date, but 30 years ago, Ari, you became the World Rally Champion, and does it still seem as fresh now as it did then?
It's hard to believe that it's 30 years ago, and maybe the way how time flies, I mean, it sums up life is very short, and it is hard to believe that it's such a long time ago, and yet it's very fresh in my memory, and it touched me very deeply the way how it happened, and it was all on the edge, and nothing was we were sure for nothing, and particularly with me. I mean, David Sutton. There's a photo where David Sutton hugs me at the end of the last special stage, because then he was sure that I had not gone off the road, and the championship was in the pocket, but it really went down to a wire.
But you didn't actually have to win that rally, did you? You only had to finish at a certain level, and finishing was all important. To finish first you have to finish.
Yes, and yes and no. Had Guy Fréquelin finished the rally, I would have had to finish in front of him in any case, and even in the case of his retirement, actually, that's what happened. I had to be, I think, in the top 6, and since given my track record is maybe not one of the most regular, I mean, you can never be sure with Harry, but sweeter it felt, and it's still really amazing to think that 30 years later there's no other Ford driver who has won the championship. So maybe Malcolm should re-employ me.
I was looking at your car the other day. It's at the National Motor Museum in Bewley. Rear-wheel drive, of course, and but a car that was almost unbeatable at the time, the Ford Escort.
Well, that is right. It was Ford Escort and then Mirafiori, but Ford was the car of that time, and I loved that car. It was like a glove in my hand and going really sideways in a spectacular style. It was my hallmark, and David Sutton was also just a private team, privately financed, and I don't think you could repeat that kind of feat anymore today.
Say a few words, if you will, about your co-driver at the time, because he, like you, has stayed close to the sport, actually stayed inside the sport. He's gone on to win lots of other world championships, but as a manager, and that's David Richards, of course, who was your co-driver.
Well, obviously David must have learned something from me, you know.
Business?
No, only joking. Well, it's actually the respective David, the champion, and the vice champion, who was alongside Guy Fréquelin, namely Jean Todt. They both actually stopped the active co-driving after 81 RAC, and both have gone a very long way since. And anyway, no, but David was already at that time very active and always looking for new opportunities, and he has made most of the opportunities, and also taken very often big risks, like with Mini. You know, he has that sporting spirit and positive sense of mind that part of the finance is there. The rest will come, but the same applies to Malcolm. Malcolm was my rival in mid-70s, and selling some gloves and some tiny accessories from Carlisle Airport, and now look at what he does today. And it is true that given what Malcolm and Elaine have put into this sport, in the terms of fairness, it would have been so good had they won, but it was not to be. And that I would have really given off my shoulders that burning of being the last champion. I really would have given that with the pleasure, but it didn't happen.
You did come here, amongst other things, to hope perhaps that a Finn would finally become world champion again. It was a time when Finns had won the world championship more times than drivers from all other countries put together. It's not so now. Sebastian Loeb has upset that particular statistic. Yeah. But it will come again. I mean, Finland is still a place that's producing great drivers, great young drivers. Jari Mäti, for example.
No, that is true, but we don't have a monopoly, and it's good to see. You have now Otto Tanak from Estonia, a really young and promising, more than promising driver. I mean, real, made of champion material. And but yes, we do have a strong tradition in Finland, and surely there are some ups and downs, but no doubt we will have more champions coming, and of Jari Mäti being the first one.
When you come to a rally like Wales, just finally, Do you see the fans there on the stages, and you can see what they're looking for? Do you sometimes yearn to be back in a car competing at this level? You've stayed competing.
No, you have to be realistic. You have to turn a page. But yet, on the other hand, I sometimes ask myself, when it all happened, and when I was right in the middle of it, in the middle of that fantastic sport and that competition, and with all its tribulations and success and setbacks, and did I realize how privileged I was? But at least now afterwards, I do realize, and no, I'm a very privileged man having been in this sport.